Keeping with the theme of the best and worst starting guns and ending guns, today we're going to keep with that theme. COD is all about getting creative with your classes and experimenting with different guns, but naturally, not all COD guns are created equal, and sometimes in order to get a good gun, you have to grind with the really crappy ones that the game gives you right out of the gate. What is up, everybody? Chaos here. Welcome to the COD History Series, and today we're going to go over my personal picks for 10 of the worst starting guns in COD. These are those guns that are unlocked right away or at really, really low levels that absolutely nobody used unless they had no other options. Do me a favor, guys. Let me know what gun you're thinking of before we get into this list. Take a second, drop a like. Let's hit 1,500 likes on this in the first 24 hours. And here we go. The USP-45 in MW3. That's right. We're going to kick off this list with a sidearm from Modern Warfare 3 that was designed to be the worst pistol in the game. And, well, it fit that role perfectly. The Modern Warfare 3 USP was intended to be this derpy little starting pistol thanks to its super low damage, its high visual kick, and a very low fire rate cap that prevented you from spamming it like you could other pistols in this game. This gun also had the quickest range drop-off of all the pistols in Modern Warfare 3, and it was plain and simply the worst sidearm in the game. There's no debate. Please don't come in the comments with this one and say it was the best, because it wasn't. The DRAKON in Black Ops 3. Now, sniping was nerfed pretty hard in BO3 due to the removal of aim assist and the addition of wall running and sustained thrust jumps. So hitting your shots with a controller was extremely difficult, and, well, that's what killed the DRAKON. The DRAKON was a starting sniper rifle, and it was a semi-automatic 2-shot kill weapon with a 1-shot kill to the head. Now, this is pretty standard in Call of Duty games, but the DRAKON's main downfalls were the very low fire rate cap that reduced how much you could spam it. And like I said before, the fact that everyone was flying around and running on walls, well, that didn't help it. If the fire rate cap was a little bit higher, maybe it could have been pretty great. But unfortunately, it was just swallowed up on the create a class screen, and people would skip right over it and use the locus as soon as they unlocked it. The Type 25 in Black Ops 2. Now, here we go. Here we go. I can already see the comments. I can see the people brewing it right now. Now, Black Ops 2 had great gun balance, all things considered. That doesn't mean that there weren't guns that people skipped on. One example was the hit marker machine known as the Type 25. And I know there's a cult following for this. I'm ready for it. This fully automatic assault rifle was the second one you got in multiplayer, and it did feature great iron sights, and it had a pretty fast fire rate. The damage per bullet, though, was extremely low, and it was outclassed by pretty much every other AR in the game. Pretty much every other AR in Black Ops 2 either hit harder or fired more reliably than the Type 25, leading to most people just leaving it there in favor of the MTAR or the M27, both of which were also unlocked pretty early in the progression system. Now, you could definitely get work done with the Type 25, but it was just so much easier to use one of the other ARs at your disposal. The Lynx in Advanced Warfare. Now, when you think of sniper rifles in Advanced Warfare, you probably think of the Moors, and then maybe the Atlas 45. But most of you probably don't think of the Lynx. It was a semi-automatic sniper rifle that suffered from a lot of the same flaws that the DRAKON had in Black Ops 3, as it was intended to be this precision-based weapon, but in a game where everybody is flying around and super hard to track, well, it wasn't good. The Lynx only dealt 70 damage per bullet, and it had a maximum fire rate of 400 rounds per minute. You could only get a 1-shot kill to the head with this thing, and since this was AW and everybody was spamming boost jumps, good luck unless you're Pomage pulling that off consistently. Most snipers tried the Lynx for a little bit, and then they dropped it and never thought about it again once they unlocked the Moors at level 8. The AT-4 in Modern Warfare 2. You heard me right. The AT-4. This was a rocket launcher, the first rocket launcher you got in MW2. It was unlocked at level 4 and also served as the worst launcher in the game. It was a hybrid between a lock-on and a free fire, but it does both of these things rather poorly. It can lock on to enemy aircraft, but it does less damage than the other launchers when it actually connects. It can also free fire at enemy players, but it has a smaller blast radius than the RPG and the grenade launcher, so it's actually pretty difficult to kill somebody with this thing. And then on top of all that, you only got one reserve rocket when you spawn in with it. If you want to shoot down an aircraft, you're way better off using the Stinger or the Javelin. If you want to shoot enemy players, well, you're way better off using a grenade launcher or an RPG. There was really no reason to ever use the AT-4 over any of the other explosive launchers in Modern Warfare 2. But then again, I'd much rather a launcher be underpowered than overpowered. So I'm not necessarily griping about this one, but I mean, it sucked. Speaking of sucking, the Scorpion In COD 4. Now, one of the opening SMGs that you get in COD 4 multiplayer was the SKORPION, and it was complete trash unless you were playing hardcore. In hardcore modes, it was actually pretty great. But in core, where most of the player base spends their time, it was arguably the worst gun in the game. It featured virtually no recoil, which was nice, but it also had very low damage and a very, very, very small mag and an extremely long reload time. This presented the very frustrating scenario of either using stopping power to boost the damage or sleight of hand to boost the reload speed, because you cannot take them both at once in COD 4. Or, alternatively, you could just use a better gun, because literally all the SMGs in the game were better. Again, in hardcore, the SKORPION was actually good, but in core modes, it's one of the worst guns in COD 4, hands down. The DRAGUNOV in Black Ops 1. Now, the DRAGUNOV is basically, well, it's a meme in the COD community. It's been in a whole bunch of COD games, and it seems no matter what game it is in, it never actually is any good. Perhaps the worst version, in my opinion, was none other than the Black Ops 1 version. It was actually the starting sniper rifle, too. In case you didn't already know, sniping in Black Ops 1 was nerfed hard from previous COD games in an attempt to prevent aggressive sniper play. But then on top of that, most of the snipers in BO1 were pretty statistically underwhelming on their own. The DRAGUNOV was a semi-automatic sniper that dealt only 70 damage with damage multipliers on the upper chest and the head, but if you threw a suppressor on it, it actually deleted the upper chest multiplier. The BO1 DRAGUNOV also had extremely awkward handling due to the heavy sway and the very low center speed, meaning you couldn't even spam it very well, and since it would just be flopping all over the place and you tried to aim down the sights, it wasn't usable. The DRAGUNOV is definitely the worst sniper in BO1, and since it's unlocked right out of the gate, well, that's why I got a spot on today's list. And I would like to see a Call of Duty in the future sometime that actually puts a DRAGUNOV in and makes it dominate. At number 3, the M9 in COD 4. The sidearms in COD 4 really weren't anything special, but you could still get work done with them thanks to the very quick time to kill in the game. Now, guns like the Desert Eagle, those were powerful on their own, and then the other pistols like the USP and the M1911, well, they could get the job done. But the M9, it was at the bottom of the pile when it came to sidearms, and it was also the first one you got. It featured the biggest mag and the slowest recoil of all the pistols, which is good, but it also had the lowest damage and the most awkward handling, which is bad. And in a game as fast-paced as COD 4, those two things, you just don't really want those in a gun. At any range further than point blank, the M9 was useless. And you may say, well, Jimmy, pistols aren't supposed to be used past point blank range in COD 4, and guess what? You would be correct, but at the same time, the other pistols in COD 4 were at least capable of being used beyond point blank range. The M9 was simply the bottom of the barrel, and that's why I got the number 3 spot today. OLYMPIA in Black Ops 1. Whew, this useless double-barrel shotgun made its debut in BO1 and then was brought back as a DLC weapon in BO3, I'm assuming as a joke. Now, the OLYMPIA doesn't have bad hard stats. In practice, it completely fell apart, though, due to the inconsistent pellet spread, the slow reload, the punishing range drop-off, and the fact that it can only be fired twice before needing to be reloaded, which was super slow. It also didn't get any bonus headshot damage, and it's the only shotgun in the game that doesn't get any kind of accuracy buff when aiming down the sights. In fact, it was actually the opposite. When aiming down the sights with a shotgun in COD, it usually causes the pellet spread to tighten up, but with BO1 OLYMPIA, well, aiming down the sights actually caused your pellet spread to get slightly wider, which possibly could have been a bug that was never fixed. And to top it all off, the OLYMPIA is the only shotgun that you couldn't have any attachments on, so you're stuck with the default stats, and there was no way to make it better. And at number 1 today, there's not a doubt in my mind. The ASP. The ASP in Black Ops. Nobody ever really expected much from the pistols in COD back in the day, but even by the extremely low standards people had for the pistols, the ASP sucked. This was the first pistol you got in Black Ops 1 multiplayer, and it was bad. It only had 7 rounds for the mag, and it felt really inconsistent when you were firing it. The range drop-off was also brutal, and it just looked awkward. Why is the guy only holding it with one hand? So even though it was a pistol, and it wasn't supposed to be anything special, the ASP defied expectations and ended up being one of the worst guns in COD history, and to me, it was deserving of the number 1 spot on today's list. So there you have it. There you have it. Those are some of the worst starting guns you can get in COD. Let me know if you agree or disagree. What's a gun that should have made it on this list that didn't, but it was deserving? And if you guys enjoyed, take a second, drop a like, make sure you're subscribed, turn on those post notifications, and I'll see you soon. This month's giveaway is for a new PlayStation 4 console. All you have to do to enter is drop a like on this video, be subscribed to the channel, and turn on your notifications so you never miss an upload. And in the comment section, let me know why you want to win the PS4 and include your Twitter handle so I can contact you if you're the winner. The winner will be announced at the end of the month.